Hey, what's up, everybody? C-Man here, letting you know that you are about to see a video that was previously recorded. It's been a rather hectic time in the life of the C-Man at work. A lot of changes going on, and while I waited a week after it came out to see the movie, then by the time I got to talk about it and actually now release it, it's a couple weeks after this film's been out, but people are still going to see it like crazy. So I think it's still worth talking about. So we've cut up, this review for you guys. Finally had some time, so take it away, Passing Man. Hey, what's going on, everybody? My name is Corey, better known as the C-Man, and I want to welcome you to another edition of the C-Man's Cinema Sit-Down. It's time to talk some movies, dude. You know me, I love talking movies, and this one I've been sitting on a little bit. I waited a week to go see it. I went and saw it over the Thanksgiving break because I love big crowds at Marvel, DC, Star Wars, big action movies. Anywhere where the crowd is mainly adults. I'm all about it because adults tend to, most of the time, understand how to handle themselves in a movie theater. And specifically those crowds. They really, opening night for those movies, those crowds know how to respond and act. But when we're talking about films that are geared toward kids, and ones that were going to be as big as this one, I went out on Thursday, not thinking oh, this movie came out. I was thinking about a different movie. And it was so crowded and there were so many kids. I was like, I need some space on that one. I don't have any issue with kids, but in a movie theater setting when there's a lot of them, sometimes it can be noisy to a disservice to the movie. So I was like, let the crowds do their thing. I'll go see this over Thanksgiving. And then I kind of been digesting this one a little bit and rocking the soundtrack hard. Dude, the music in this movie, so good. That might be giving away what we're talking about, so let's not waste any more time. Why don't you pull up a chair, man, take a seat. We're getting ready to dive in spoiler free into Frozen 2. That's right, man. The sequel to the immediate Disney classic musical Frozen is on the big screen, and oh man, it's a goodie. We have the entire creative team back together here, man. Jennifer Lee, Chris Buck co-directing, Lee obviously on the script and screenplay, and the story being created by her, Buck, Mark Smith, and then of course their musical duo, husband and wife, Kristen Anderson Lopez and Robert Lopez, all back for the second Frozen movie. And I really like this, dude. This is one of those, especially something like Frozen, where you have someone who has magical powers, like Elsa does. You want that sequel to be a level up to some degree. You want there to be a level up in her powers. You want there to be a level up in the story, and the action, just everything. Anytime there's a sequel, you want it to kind of level up. Now, the sequel doesn't always stand up to or live up to the original because so much of the enjoyment and the true, wow factor in a movie is the first time you see it. We have an idea of what we're getting into when we go into Frozen 2 that we didn't have when we got the first Frozen. First Frozen was a massive surprise. It was a return to form to the classic Disney musical. And that's how I would describe Frozen. I think it is a classic Disney musical. Frozen 2 really does feel like a level up. And it feels like a Broadway musical. And I know it's all the same people, but the quality to the music and the songs lyrically, obviously, the music level, it's on par, right? That quality isn't going anywhere. But I think we stepped up the game lyrically, man. And what they're talking about and the things they're diving into, they're more serious. There's more at stake. And because of that, I think it's one of the most successful parts about the movie. It does feel like a true level up that really works and maintains the capture of that wow and the magic that the first one had. It maintains all that. And what's really nice with this one is that our main characters don't have to go through the rigmarole of meeting everybody. Now, yes, Anna and Elsa are sisters, but they were separated for a really long time. Very minimal contact when they were kids. So they're kind of meeting each other in the first one. Then, of course, they're meeting Olaf, Sven, and Kristoff. And, of course, Kristoff and Sven, they're the only two that really know each other going out of our main group. And what's nice here is we can just dive right in with this group. We don't have to assemble it. And we can send them out on a mission all together, man. They can go off together, and then naturally they're kind of all going to end up on separate paths at one point or another, because each one of their stories is very important to the character. There's a big storyline for Elsa. There's a big storyline for Anna. There's a big storyline for Kristoff and Sven. And I was gonna have a knock on Frozen 2. It's that I think the movie is more grown up. And I think that's a win for us adults, but for little kids, there's some subject matter, specifically in the second half of the film, that's very heavy, man. Like, you're talking about, like, really heavy adult subject matter. Like, the type of stuff that just made the tears stream down my face. I mean, it's not hard to make the Seaman cry, but, like, there's some legit emotional stuff in this movie. And there's, I don't know, it felt more grown up than the first one. And I think some of that, like I said, is kind of that quality of, like, doing a classic Disney musical, which I think is more kid friendly, versus doing a Broadway musical, which I think is more adult friendly. I think that's where Frozen 2 lands for me. I don't think that's a bad thing. I think this is a really, really solid movie. The quality of its content and of its music. Oh, the music in this. I've been listening to the soundtrack so hard. The music is so good. Kristen Anderson Lopez and Robert Lopez absolutely crush it. Even to the point where, like, songs that didn't make it into the movie but around the soundtrack, they're really good too. There's one song on the soundtrack that I wish would have made it into the movie, because it would have just been fun to see them play with it, and the song is so fun. But that all being said, I think this is a more grown up movie. I think our characters have grown up a lot. They've learned a lot of things about themselves, even though there is still mystery out there and things to uncover. And as I said, I don't think that's a knock for me, but bring a little kid to this movie, be prepared to have to talk about potentially heavier subjects that might not be so geared for little kids. That would be my one knock on the movie. But other than that, man, Jennifer Lee and Chris Buck knocked this one out of the park. I think the story is really, really strong. I think, like, 3, 4, 5 years down the road, I think people will be talking more about Frozen 2 as the better of these two movies than Frozen 1. I think the first Frozen is the easy one to say, it's still the best, because the pop, the surprise of the first Frozen was so big. That doesn't exist here. And the accessibility, I think it's a little bit more accessible than this one is. But I'm telling you, man, this one is going to age like a fine wine, because there is some really, really good stuff. And the undeniable thing that is certainly better in this movie than the first Frozen, the animation. Oh my God. Like, dude, I said this every single time an animated movie comes out. The animation level and the leveling up of the animation is just phenomenal, dude, in these animated films. All of these different companies and different animated properties keep pushing the level of animation up, up, up. And this might be the best we've seen from Disney yet, man. Like, the biggest thing for me, right? Like, the background work is tremendous. I mean, look, Disney made a live-action Lion King where nothing in the movie exists. Trees, grass, animals, water. So you know that you have the technology. The backgrounds in this film are crazy, dude. The woods look real. The water. Anytime Elsa is dealing with the water, holy cow, the realism is insane. And like, when you say, like, a step up from the animation, I watched the first Frozen right before, went in, and, like, it's like the little details that make the animation better, dude. Like, watch the lips when they're singing. Just the quality of the lip control and the way they're forming the words is better. But then there's, like, little things like when, you have Kristen Bell or Idina Menzel hitting one of those, especially Idina Menzel, hitting one of those high register notes where, like, there's a little bit of reverb going on. You can see the quivering in the lips, dude, and, like, the way their mouths, it's wild how good the animation is. So I think that's an undisputed fact. It is visually better than the first one. And everything else I think is on par. And then you get into these characters, man. And I just loved these stories. One, because there wasn't that fractured relationship between Anna and Elsa. It was just one of those things that, like, as a sibling and having, like, younger brothers and sisters, it's hard to watch that on screen sometimes. So to have them right out the gate, being close and working together, and, like, still trying to get over some of the things that came up from the first one. I just loved watching that. And our voice cast is tremendous, as always. Kristen Bell, Idina Menzel, Josh Gad, Jonathan Groff. All absolutely wonderful. And like I said, they all get really, really nice together and solo moments. And the music and the songs, they're so good, dude. Like I said, Broadway quality. But the things that I really, really enjoyed about this movie in particular were these individual stories. Like, yes, I like this group story. I like seeing them all go in and work together. But when we got off into what the movies were about for each of the characters, that's where I think it really thrives. I think this is a massive movie for Elsa. Obviously, we're learning more about her past and specifically where some of her magical powers are coming from. And what's cool is watching her kind of learn and figure all that stuff out is amazing, and the visuals that come along with that, her running up the waves, which we've seen in the trailers, when she gets to like her second big song in the movie, the visuals, even the first big song that she has in the movie, the visuals that surround those are just tremendous, and play into a very deep, emotional kind of discovering for Elsa's character. And then I think the thing I probably like most about Elsa is like she's got a better handle on her powers, even though she's still learning things. But like there are moments in this movie, dude, where she's got to like save, her friends, or things that again we've even seen in the teaser trailers and the regular trailers, that like she's like a full blown like superhero, like at times, man. Like she is like, I'd love to see her throw down with Killer Frost. Put it that way, man. And like she does, she has heroic moments, and there is like she's even got like a superhero landing at one point in the movie. It was awesome. Like as a hardcore superhero nerd, I was like, ooh, dude, like Elsa could totally be bring Elsa into the Marvel universe. I'd be okay with that. It was fun to watch her use her powers, and it was really enjoyable to watch her story play out. Then throwing Kristen Bell's Anna, I really, really enjoyed that story as well. It's still the repairing of that relationship with Elsa and finding trust. And then coming out of all of those things, Anna has to find a lot of inner strength, and the way she goes about the movie and how she plays into specifically the finale and things that happen, you're just like, it's a wonderful follow-up to the first Frozen for her character as well. And I really enjoyed what Kristen Bell does with the character, and I'm always just amazed at how great of a singer Kristen Bell is too. So I really enjoyed her performance. When you have Josh Gad playing Olaf, Olaf is definitely the kid-friendly thing in this movie. He is rampant through the first half. His song is very much on par with what his song was on the first one. His other song that's not in the movie but is on the soundtrack, also really, really good. And he is literally putting a smile or making you laugh the entire movie. Like anytime he's on screen, outside of save like one, maybe two moments, he is making you laugh. Oh my gosh, he is so funny. And you can tell Josh Gad has so much fun with the Olaf character. And his storyline, what's going on with Olaf's character in this movie, is just brilliant. Like it's a level up from his character from the first one as well, and the way it plays, oh my god! Like the first half of this movie, there's so much laughter. This one I think is funnier than the first one for sure. But then it's a hard switch when you get to like a little bit past the halfway point. Then it gets a lot more serious and a lot more adult. But if you want some fun, you're gonna get plenty of it with Olaf specifically in the front half of the movie, and then Jonathan Groff, back as Kristoff / Sven, as he voices Sven. I love how they play with that, with the reindeer in the movie. I think it's really, really good and very, very enjoyable. But the thing I like the most for Kristoff in this movie is, one, I think his storyline is stronger, and two, he might have the best song in the entire film. Say what? Yes. Look, it's one of those things where Jonathan Groff, the guy who comes off of Broadway, I didn't really think they gave him a ton in the first one. Like from the singing standpoint, they give him some fantastic stuff, and specifically his big solo song. His big solo song is so good, and it's got like an element to it where like you'll be sitting there and you'll be watching it, and both the sound and the visuals, like what you're watching on screen, you're just going, this sounds familiar. Like, what is this? Oh man, like that's what they're doing right now, and it's awesome. It immediately became one of my favorite songs in the film, and it really got to show off how talented Jonathan Groff is. And also, like, he has a second song that's not in the movie, and that's the one that I wish was in the movie. And the second song is a lot of fun too for his character. But Kristoff's character in general, I really not so much like a physical level up for him, but an emotional level up for Kristoff. What's going on with his character in the movie, again, promotes some humor and some fun, but also some serious stuff. And I just liked watching the growth of his character as he kind of tries to learn and figure some things out. So when you have your main cast, crushing it like that, you know you're going to be in for some good stuff with Frozen 2. But it also has a strong supporting cast. Sterling K. Brown playing one of the former Arendelle like lead guards, who's trapped on the other side of that big wall of mist and clouds that we see. He's really, really good when he's brought into it. Evan Rachel Wood is really, really nice. And you have some really nice other voice work around in the movie. But there's one more character I need to mention before I get out of here. I know I've been chatting for a while, but this is such a good, like, I really enjoyed, there was so much in here. But there's one other character, and if you've been following my Mandalorian coverage, I hinted at him. But he is trying to give Baby Yoda a run for his money in Cutest Creature of 2019. Is absolutely adorable. And there's several creatures in this film that are mind-blowing from a visual standpoint. Our cute little friend, who you'll know right away. He has some wonderful moments with Elsa, some wonderful moments with Olaf, and that character is so freaking adorable. And then there's another creature that we see and it all ties into the story so nicely. It's not just like random creatures that we're seeing. Now it all ties in and ties into the history and everything. It's just so well done. But there's one other visually stunning creature in this movie, and sometimes it is scary, sometimes it is absolutely stunning, and sometimes you're just like, wow, man, like, what am I watching? It's beautiful. And I think that's the stuff that this movie does the best, man. It uses its animation to its advantage the whole film. It uses the music to its advantage the whole film. Like I said, it works perfectly for Frozen, man. It does all the things that you want the Frozen movie to do. I think it's a good continuation of the story, and our voice cast is marvelous. I could listen to Idina Menzel sing literally like all day, dude. Like, she literally moves you to tears just with her voice. And then when you, like I said, the animation can put that quiver in Elsa's lip when she's singing, forget it, man. Like, you're done. So there you go, man. Those are all of the Seaman's long-winded thoughts on Frozen 2. There's a lot more to talk about than I thought there would be. But it is a real solid flick. I highly recommend it, especially if you were a fan of the first one. Anyway, I don't want to spoil anything. I'm gonna stop talking now. I want to know what you're thinking, man. If you were out in that first weekend, if you were out during the Thanksgiving holiday, you saw Frozen 2. What were you thinking, man? What did you like? What did you dislike? Do you think this is a level up from the first Frozen? Do you outrank it from the first Frozen, or is it still coming in like a little bit underneath it? Where is it falling for you between those two movies? What music things were you like? And I know I didn't specifically mention any songs, and I might do a ranking of the songs because I just love the soundtrack so much. But feel free to call out the names of the songs. Just don't spoil anything or warn it. But let me know what songs you were liking, what moments were your favorite, things that were working or not working in the film. All of that nice stuff that you might be thinking about Frozen 2 goes down below in the comment section. As always, if you enjoyed this video, please give me a thumbs up because I love those. And if you want to come hang out with the Cinema Sit Down squad, you can do more than just hang out with it. Why don't you come join it? You want to do that, man? You want to hang out with us all the time, have some fun over here at the Cinema Sit Down, have me pop up in your feed, hit that subscribe button. You get all that loveliness. And then if you want to know exactly when I'm dropping any kind of video, hit that alert bell that follows so you get the alerts. That's it, man. For the Seaman's Cinema Sit Down, I'm the Seaman, I'm signing off. Peace. Well, I'll be. You guys are still here. You must be looking for some more content. Well, don't worry. Seaman's got you covered, man. You got videos like this guy and this guy. And if you haven't yet, and you want to come check out all the Seaman goodies, join the Cinema Sit Down squad, man. Hit that subscribe button. And don't forget to hit the little bell down below that, too, so you can get alerts every time I make new videos.